Okay, third grade. So as I said in the introduction video, we're going to take a break from doing rhythms this week. And we are going to do a few rhythms, but the majority of our conversation is going to be talking about the changing of the seasons. The one that's in particular happening on Tuesday, September 22nd, when we're going to be transitioning into autumn. And if you're watching this video after Tuesday, well, then guess what? You're watching it after the beginning of autumn, okay? So I'm going to share my screen so we can talk about what goes on with our planet that causes this transition of the seasons, because this transition has a special term for it: autumnal equinox. I know that's two really big words, and we're going to be talking more in depth about how the seasons change and what is the autumnal equinox. So let's jump right in. So as you can see, we are visiting the NASA Science Space Place Exploration, Explore Earth and Space website for that NASA's put out. And what I love about this website is they talk about all kinds of cool stuff, including the changing of our seasons. So now you might ask yourself, what causes our seasons to change? Well, according to NASA, the short answer is that the Earth's tilted axis cause the seasons to change. Now, what do we mean by the Earth's tilted axis? Well, if we come over here to this spinning globe of the planet, let me pick one here. Okay, give it a second. There it goes. Now, this is how a lot of people think our planet spins, but in fact, our planet spins a little bit off angle at a diagonal axis, okay? So that is what the Earth is actually doing. So I'm going to turn the rotation off. All right, now let's come back over here. So it's all about the Earth's tilt, okay? Throughout the year, different parts of the Earth are going to receive more direct sunlight from the sun. So when the North Pole is tilted toward the sun, it's actually going to be summer in the northern hemisphere, okay? Now the most everybody knows what the equator is, right? That's that invisible line that goes around the middle of our globe. Well, the northern hemisphere is pretty well everything above that equator, and the southern hemisphere would be everything that is below that equator. So for the northern hemisphere, when our the rotation and the spin of the Earth and everything, when the North Pole is facing tilted a little bit toward the sun, that means our part of the planet is going to receive more sunlight than the South Pole. Whenever it's tilted back the other way during the winter season, then that means that we're going to be receiving less direct sunlight than the southern hemisphere, okay? So basically the seasons are opposite. So up here in the northern hemisphere, while we're having summer, people in the southern hemisphere are actually having winter. And when we're having winter, they're actually having summer. Okay, so I've got some friends that live in South Africa, and they always say that they love December because they get to celebrate Christmas on the beach. I know, it's crazy, right? Now, many people believe that the Earth is closer to the sun during the summer, and that's why we get hotter. And during the winter that we've moved away from the sun, and that's why we get colder. Well, that is not true at all. It is true that the Earth's orbit around the sun is not a perfect circle. We do it's more of an oval than it is a perfect circle, okay? So we are very slightly closer to the sun at different times in our rotation. But when we have summer versus winter and everything like that, that really doesn't have anything to do with it, because when we are having winter and it's really, really cold in our hemisphere, then the Earth is actually closer to the sun. And when we're having summer in the northern hemisphere, we're actually further away from the sun. So that's just totally a myth. We're not actually closer to the sun, and it makes us hotter. It doesn't work that way, okay? Now, let's see. What causes the Earth to tilt? Well, a long time ago, when the Earth was really, really young, some people think, now keep in mind, these are all theories. We're not really sure what exactly happened, but there are some scientists who have created some theories that think that something really big hit the Earth and knocked us off kind of sideways there. And so instead of rotating straight up and down on our axis like some planets do, we're actually leaned over a bit, okay? Let's see, scrolling down. So I love this little chart right here, you guys, okay? So let's look at September because that's where we are right now. So during the September, what's happening in the Northern Hemisphere is that our Earth is actually tilted toward the sun in such a way that the Northern and the Southern Hemispheres are receiving equal amounts of sunlight from the sun, okay? Because of where we are in our big circle around the sun. Now, notice on here that it says south of the equator, they're actually transitioning into spring right now because, again, remember, the seasons are opposite. So while they're transitioning into spring, up here, we're transitioning into fall, also known as autumn, okay? And that, and like I said a minute ago, the sun is shining equally on both the northern and southern hemisphere. Now, there's 2 times a year that this happens. March is the other time of year that the Earth is going to be getting equal amounts of sun on the northern and southern hemispheres. Notice where it's sitting next to the sun, okay? It's kind of behind it. So during the fall, in the up here down in the southern part of our planet on the southern hemisphere, in March they're transitioning into fall, while we up here in the northern hemisphere are transitioning into spring. Okay, so those are called equinoxes because equinox is Latin for the word equal, and what we're meaning is that the northern and southern hemispheres are receiving an equal amount of daylight as each other. Okay, so it only happens twice a year. It happens once in March and it happens once in September, and that indicates the change. In March we're switching over to spring, and in September in the northern hemisphere, I cannot talk today, in the northern hemisphere we are transitioning over into autumn, also known as fall. Okay, and who can tell us why we call it fall and not autumn? Fall tends to be the more common name. So why would we call it that? That's right, because the leaves are falling off the trees. So we call it fall, okay? Now, let's move into a little bit more about that. Okay, so here's a really good look at it right here. So you can see the northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, this equator right in the middle. Remember, our Earth is tilted and the sun is hitting the Earth in such a way, okay? And as we get into this time of the year, our days are going to start getting shorter. Our nights are going to start getting longer, okay? So that's what we're going to look forward to, is longer nights, shorter days. All right, so now let's get into the song about the autumnal equinox. Okay, so let's talk about the autumnal equinox. I think you guys are gonna like this song. All right, so sing this after me. If you like autumn, put your hands in the air. If you like autumn, put your hands in the air. If you like autumn, put your hands in the air. So let's see if we can try that. You guys ready? Here we go. 1, ready, go. If you like autumn, put your hands in the air. If you like autumn, put your hands in the air. If you like autumn, put your hands in the air. And you better have those hands in the air, you guys. You better have them in the air, or we're not getting bucket drums out. Okay, all right, so now let's see if we can do this part. Listen very carefully. Summer's over, now it's time for the equinox, autumnal equinox. And we are saying autumnal equinox. Remember, that means autumn equals. So this is that time of the year where we're getting equal day and equal night, okay? All right, so let's try it. Here we go. Summer's over, now it's time for the equinox, autumnal equinox. Awesome. And notice the next phrase is almost exactly the same, except it's got one little thing that's different, okay? Listen, air is cooler. That's our phrase that's different. And then we do the equinox part again. So just try the air is cooler part for me. Here we go. Ready, go. Air is cooler. Keep going. Now it's time for the equinox, autumnal equinox. You guys are awesome. All right, now we're going to jump over here. All right, see if you can sing this after me. It's that autumn time of year. Oh, excuse me, I got something in my throat. See if you can try it. Here we go. It's that autumn time of year. Okay, listen. In the northern hemisphere. Go. In the northern hemisphere. Here's the next line. Listen. Equinox divides aligned. You try. Equinox divides aligned. And now for me. Equal day and equal night. Oh. Now you try. Equal day and equal night. Oh. All right, cool. So let's see if we can do all of that, starting here at the beginning. You guys ready? All right, let me turn this up and hit play. Boom, let's do this. Now remember, if you want to get those bucket drums out, you better be singing and get those hands up in the air. All right, here we go. If you like autumn, put your hands in the air. If you like autumn, put your hands in the air. If you like autumn, put your hands in the air. Summer's over, now it's time for the equinox, the autumnal equinox. Air is cooler, now it's time for the equinox, autumnal equinox. It's that autumn time of year in the northern hemisphere. Equinox divides alive, equal day and equal night. Oh, keep going. If you like autumn, put your hands in the air. If you like autumn, put your hands in the air. If you like autumn, put your hands in the air. Now, because we're doing this virtually and I don't have you in the classroom, we're just going to ignore that part 1, part 2 stuff, and we're just going to sing it just normal, everybody on the same thing, okay? All right, now, did you notice this part was exactly like the beginning? It really wasn't any different from what we were doing because we're ignoring that part 2 stuff. But notice there's 2 sentences in here that are different than what we had earlier, but there are several lines that are the same. So one of the different lines is what? That's right, trees are changing. So listen to that. Trees are changing. Now you try. Here we go. Trees are changing. And that's in reference to the fact that right now, you'll notice that the trees are starting to have different colored leaves. Their leaves are starting to die away and the leaves are starting to come off the trees. So our trees are changing right now because the trees are getting ready for winter, because trees know whenever the autumn is over, that it's going to be time for winter. And those trees that have those big old leaves on them, they're trying to get rid of those leaves right now so that when the snows come, you know, I know we don't get snow down here, but for the most part, most areas, when the snows come, that snow will weigh down their leaves. So the trees are trying to get rid of those leaves right now. Okay. And then the next line that's different is what? That's right. It's September, which describes what month we're in right now. Okay. So listen to that one. It's September. You try that. Here we go. It's September. Awesome. Okay, so let's see if we can start there, because guess what? Once we keep going, the words are exactly the same. Now, again, I told you we're going to ignore the part 2 stuff, so don't even pay attention to that. But let's go back to here. Trees are changing, and see if you can sing it to the end. Here we go. Trees are changing. Now it's time for the equinox, autumnal equinox. It's September. Now it's time for the equinox, autumnal equinox. It's that autumn time of year in the northern hemisphere. Equinox divides the line, equal day and equal night. Oh, if you like autumn, put your hands in the air. If you like autumn, put your hands in the air. If you like autumn, put your hands in the air. Again. If you like autumn, put your hands in the air. If you like autumn, put your hands in the air. If you like autumn, put your hands in the air. Say autumn, autumn. Awesome. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get out the bucket drums. And if you don't have a bucket to drum on, that's totally fine. You can drum on your lap, you can drum on the table, you can drum on the floor, whatever you have handy, but don't be banging on stuff that you're not allowed to bang on. Okay, don't be doing that. All right. So, let's get into the bucket drum part. Okay, now as you can see, I have my bucket here ready to go. Again, if you don't have a bucket like this one, you got a smaller one, that's fine. If you don't have a bucket, just use something that you got handy, but just make sure it's not something you're not allowed to be banging on. It's not something breakable, not something you can hurt. Okay, so don't go be banging on your little brother or little sister, all right, you guys? So just get you something. If not, you can just tap on your legs or tap on the floor. It's totally fine because we're just going to be using the top of the bucket, okay? All right, so now notice at the top of our line, we now have the song again, but we've inserted the beats. Now, I don't expect you to try and sing at the same time that you're doing these beats, okay? So don't stress about that. I do want to point out that on that very last ta that's right there, what I want you to do is actually clap on it instead of tap. So this beat's going to look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, clap. Okay? Or if you want to count it this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, clap. Just like that. And that's what we're going to be doing during this part. So see if you can try that with me. And if you want to clap, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, clap, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, clap. Either way is fine as long as you get that clap in on the 8th beat. All right, let's try it. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, clap. Just like that. You guys are awesome. Now, notice that the pattern has changed here. For this set of words, we want to go ta, ta, ti, ti, ta every time. So we're just going to keep repeating that rhythm during this section of the song. So try it. 1, 2, ready, go. Ta, ta, ti, ti. Exactly, just like that. Okay? Now look at how the rhythm has changed here. When we get to this set of words, this section of the song, we want to change to ta, ta, ti, 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 ti. There you go. Exactly like that. Try it with me. Ready, go. Ta, ta, ti, 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 ti. Awesome. You guys are so good. All right, and then we go back to this part where we're clapping on beat 8. Then to this rhythm again, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. This rhythm again, ta, ta, ti, 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 ti. And then this one again. Oh, but check this out. For the very last part of our song, our beat has now changed to T, 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 T. You're just going to keep doing TTs, but there is one little difference with the rhythm. At the very bottom of the words there, we see the word autumn. When we get to that part, I want you to go autumn. Okay, and I do want you to sing with that one, okay? So I'm going to scroll it back to the beginning, and we're going to see if we can take the whole song. Watch for the rhythms. Don't try to sing it at the same time. If you can't do rhythms and sing in, don't worry about that. We're concerned about the bucket drumming right now, okay? All right, so let me restart our song, and we're going to try this again. Make sure you're watching for those changing rhythms. Here we go. All right, we're going to start our beat before the words actually start singing. Here we go. Get ready to do the clap. Clap. 1, 2, 3, 4. Autumn. Put your hands in the air. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Clap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Clap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here we go, changing. Clap. Ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, 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 ti, ti, ta. Clap, 5, 6, 7, clap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, clap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, clap. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, clap. Ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, 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 ti, ti, go. Ta, ta, ti, 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 paging, ti, 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 ta, ta, gonna clap, 5, 6, 7, clap, 1, 2, 6, 7, clap, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, clap, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, clap, 1, 2. Go and ti, ti, ti. All right, did you catch that autumn at the end? Yeah, it came pretty quick, all those TTs, man. All right, cool. So now that we're done, next week we're going to get back into talking about rhythms specifically, maybe start composing a few more complicated rhythms, and I can show you how to really make some cool music. We might even be playing some rhythm games. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up, so hopefully you're ready for that in the next few weeks. But what I need you to do now is go take your quiz, okay? So remember that your quiz is linked in the description below this video if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching this on Schoology, then the quiz is actually embedded below this video, okay? And if you came over here from my website, then you can simply hit the back button, go over there and click the link for the quiz on that page. However you can get there is great, okay? So I will see you guys later. Bye.